All right. Welcome to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, my man?
Man. Another week in the NFL.
It has been, but before we get started, I'm going to take this opportunity that you gave me. Matter of fact, I am in a very good alternative rock cover band in the Charlotte area. Have you guys not heard of us? We are Kendrick Colt, the ultimate rock experience. Check us out, Facebook, Instagram, KendrickColt.com as well. All
right. Absolutely. And you know what? We'll do even better than that. We'll get that information up and then we'll put it on something too so that folks that didn't catch it at the beginning, if they go back through the show at a later time, they'll be able to see it. So, absolutely. Guys, y'all need to check that out. These guys can play. This man is lethal on that guitar, y'all. Y'all just don't know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Y'all watch some of these covers they do. Purple Rain was just crazy. And you guys do a whole lot more. So I've called a couple clips, and shame on me. I need to actually come out and one of these shows with the wife because I know she would love it too. So
Friday night, Bradshaw Social Club.
This Friday?
This Friday night, Bradshaw Social Club, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. And what's the other band that you guys play with?
That we're going to play with this Friday? It's all us tonight. I mean, not tonight, but Friday night. All us. We'll be there for 3 hours, rocking the joint out, 3 different sets.
What?
If I see you and you know something, come up and we'll sing it.
Now, you might get me up there. That's what's up. Okay. Well, hey, that is absolutely wonderful. I got some great news too, but I got it under wraps. But Empower is about to expand.
Awesome.
And very, very soon. So I just made it official a couple of days ago, but actually, well, I'll just say it and I'll announce it again tomorrow on the main show. But we're coming to Amazon Fire.
Whoa. Nice.
So we're going to be on Roku and Amazon Fire very, very soon. I got them developing the platform. So everything that appears on our Roku channel currently right now will also now be available for our Amazon Fire users. So instead of just having 75 million Roku users at our disposal, we'll actually have an additional 75 million Fire users for a total of 150. So that's just because of the growth. That's just because of some of the numbers that I've seen that I think it's time for us to take it up to a whole nother level. So as we keep expanding and doing bigger and bigger things, we're going to expand the platforms that we come to people on. So if you're watching the show right now, you're watching this on LinkedIn, Facebook Live, or YouTube, wherever you're tuning in, we appreciate you. We couldn't do the show without you. We come to you every single week to talk about the latest happenings going on in the NFL. We talk about what happened and what we're looking forward to in the upcoming week. Well, I mean, we've already gone through 13 weeks of the NFL, and I can honestly say this has been one of the most head-scratching, intriguing seasons that I've ever seen in my life. If you think you know how a game is going to end up, then you have no idea, because what you think may happen probably won't happen, or it won't happen the way that you think. This has just been one of those seasons where who knows? I mean, we got teams right now with 5 losses, 6 losses, and they are still in contention for the playoffs, where any other season in the week 13, if teams had 5 or 6 losses, people start talking about, hey, go ahead and tank them so we can get a better draft spot, stuff like that. You pretty much already know who's going to win your divisions, and now it's basically figuring out how the wild card's going to shuffle. But for a lot of these, for these conferences, well, the 2 conferences, you still trying to figure out 1 through 4. Who's getting the seeds and stuff. So, and it's very important because only the top seeds from both conferences get the first round bye. So everybody else has to play in the wild card week. So that becomes very, very important. We've got some teams trying to turn it on late. Some teams still just kind of hedging back and forth, and Some of them I think are just going to back into the playoffs. Like they're just going to hang around long enough. Somebody else is going to misstep, and they just end up in the wild card by default. I kind of see that with a couple of these teams. They're going to limp into the playoffs, so to speak. It's just a crazy year, Rand. It just is.
It's insane, man. These games, just flip a coin. A lot of these games, just flip a coin. Especially the night games, just flip a freaking coin, man.
Bruh, how many of these night games have just been like must-see TV nail biters? You're just like, what?
Yeah, just come down to one play, and we can start with the Buffalo game. Patriots, one play. I mean, if he makes the other read, we're talking Buffalo wins the game.
He had Cole Beasley and Stephon Diggs, but the problem is the defense got there so fast that he had to then think about getting out of that pocket, and his head was down as Beasley came open. If he had one more second, he would have seen Cole slip across that middle and would have gotten that ball in. But that's just how fast these things happen. When you do it in slow motion, you go, Beasley's open. But if you look on the other side, at that point, the defense is coming at him. He's turned his head away down so he can start running out to then open back up. By that time, Beasley is then covered and he can't get it to him. And he tries to get it over what's the name, Cox or something like that, the tight end that couldn't come up with it. So that was just a crazy game. We had 45, 55 mile an hour winds going on in Orchard Park, the Monday Night Football game. We knew this was going to be a run heavy game, especially depending on what side of the ball the team was on. If they were throwing into the wind, you're not going to kick that ball well. You're not going to be able to throw that ball well because as soon as you put the ball in the air, the wind's going to take it away and it's going to sail on you. So we knew that the teams were going to be very run heavy. Well, what we did not know is just how run heavy. I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback stat be 2 for 3 for 19 yards and he won the game.
That's a high school stat, man.
Mac Jones was 2 for 3. So, I mean, he completed 66% of his passes, let's be honest.
Well, 3 passes will do that.
But then they ran the ball, and they ran the ball, and they ran the ball. I believe they ran the ball, was it 40? There was a total of 49 plays by New England. 46 of them were rushes.
Yeah, Bolden had some rushes. Larry Zonka had some rushes.
Mercury I was out there. I ran 4 times myself.
Yeah, Franco Harris got some rushes. Earl Campbell had a few.
They just ran around, and that was the funny thing. You knew they were going to run the ball, and then they ran it at a pretty good clip. That was the other part. It wasn't that they just ran the ball that many times, but they were peeling off like 4.5 yards to carry.
Yeah, and all jokes aside, man, New England's defensive front and offensive line, my man Bill has stacked that unit up. So they are physical as hell at the line of scrimmage. I did not factor that part in when I was making my decision about Buffalo and New England. But, I mean, Buffalo has some stout folks up there, too. They just are not built like that New England defensive and offensive line. They could go some places, Brian. They could go some places, man. Like when this postseason comes up, you got your 2 units right there at the line of scrimmage playing at that high of a level. Doesn't really matter too much about what your quarterback ability is. If you can run like that, I mean, it'll take down the best of them.
Exactly. And I think that's what made, a lot of times, and Anthony, I'll read your comments in a second, but I think that's what really gave them the confidence to move on from Cam Newton and move on with Mac Jones, knowing that they would be able to rely on their defense and their offensive line and their running game to really put them in positions that, Mac Jones has been very efficient, but he's been more efficient from the Tom Brady model, the Dinkin and the Duncan.
Yeah,
take whatever they give you. Actually make a lot of your passing game an extension of your running game. You hear people say that, and what they mean by that is that anytime you're able to throw these screens to your running backs and they're able to get yards after the catch, that's really a lot of the extension of your running game, because it puts your backs out in space to really see what kind of work they can do. When you got Harris, when you got Stevenson, those kind of guys, they can sit there, they make the first guy miss, and they're playing zone defense, or even if they're playing man defense, now somebody's got to come over and help because that they made that first person miss. That only extends your running game out even more. And that's what they've been able to do all season. And they really put it together. Anthony says, yo, please get Leslie Frazier. How's he's a defensive coach? In fairness, Leslie Frazier for the longest has been a pretty good defensive coach. But, honestly, Anthony, and he said, put 10 players in the box. Bills should have won that game. Bills went all out on defense to take the pressure off his rookie quarterback and give him 2 big tight ends. What the Bills really should have done was they did stack the box. The line, they got more push. Sometimes you can stack the box, but it's not just about stacking the box. It's about scheming. Just sitting 10 people in the box doesn't do anything. You still got to scheme right. You got to pull right. Belichick is the mastermind, because what he likes to do a lot of times is that if you show him something works, a lot of teams, they'll have 15 to 20 plays drawn up, and they'll run through that whole list of plays. Belichick doesn't do that. Belichick will go, wait a minute, that play just worked. Do it again. Or it worked again, do it again. And he may do a variation. He may do a variation of it if it's a left weak or right weak or whatever. He'll just flip it, but it's the same exact play, and he'll just keep doing it until you show him it doesn't work anymore. That's the thing about Belichick. He just doesn't move on to okay, we did that in a couple of plays. Okay, let's mix it up. And this is his thing. This is how he makes adjustments. You have to make Belichick adjust. If you don't, he will just keep doing what he does until he just rams it down your throat and you can't take it anymore. And that's what he did. He did it the whole game. When you're gonna run like that, Rand, you also need some jumbo packages and stuff like that. A lot of 2 tight end sets, sometimes 3 tight end sets, because you're not using those tight ends obviously to catch. You're using them to block. To block the edges, keep the defenses and the ends off the edges, keep that push so that the guards in the center can pull up in the middle and try to give you running back a little bit of space if they're going to run up the middle. Sometimes you do it depending on how you run it. You can even run it from one side to the other, depending on what kind of back you have. So a lot of different things that you can do when you're talking about stacking up your offensive line against that defensive line.
Yeah, somebody made the comment in the cooler the other day, and I kind of agreed with it and fed off the same thing and saw the same thing. Those wide receivers, I mean, you do that with a lot of teams, you're going to have some pouting wide receivers.
Yes.
Wide receivers are going to be standing around, not committed anymore, barely showing any effort. Those wide receivers for the Patriots were in there, like offensive linemen in there. They were really committed to the run the entire game. So I got to commend them for that. And I got to commend Belichick, though I can't stand the dude. I mean, it is what he is. He is a brilliant coach. I have to give him his props.
Hey, Rand, on that same line, too, that takes a lot for a quarterback. Quarterbacks are ego. They know that their stats and a lot of their bonuses are based on their passing yards.
That's right.
And pushing the ball down the field. So, quarterbacks are divas. The fact that you have a quarterback that young, not having his ego out there to say, wait a minute, you only want me to go 2 for 3? What Belichick gets them to understand is look, guys, sometimes we're going to have to pass the ball 35 times. Sometimes we're going to have to run the ball 35 times. And sometimes we can't do both in the same game. But whatever we end up doing, it's my belief it gives us the best chance to win the game. And you have to get your players, like you just said, to buy into, you know what? I'm going to give up my body on these blocks as a receiver because I understand with this wind blowing, the best chance for us to win is for me to block my tail off and free up these running backs. That's how we're going to win this game. We're not going to win this game if you try to put that ball in the air and swirl around and it gets picked off and intercepted.
Yeah, could you see Odell Beckham playing for the Patriots doing that?
Nope.
No way, man. No way. And
you sir,
it's not gonna happen. There's a
ain't
lot of
gonna
wide receivers. I could go down the list.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I couldn't see Stephon Diggs on the other side doing that.
No, he wouldn't want to do that. No, that's
I don't know. I don't think Cole Beasley would have done it.
Nah.
Maybe Emmanuel Sanders, because he's been around long enough where he gets it like that. But I don't even know if he could have committed the whole game like that. I mean, they did this the whole freaking game. So
yeah,
props to the New England Patriots. The time of possession didn't really work against one or the other. Both basically scored off of Lord. Both of them scored off of just lost the word. Miscues. Yeah, they messed up and they scored off of those. I don't know why I can't think of my words. So there weren't any interceptions thrown, but both lost fumbles and they were able to score. Anthony says, if you get drafted to New England, would you care about stats? I wouldn't. LOL. Well, it's not even whether you care about it. You just understand that that's going to play a back seat to what they call, like, Lord knows I hate to say it, the Patriot way. But there's obviously
a Patriot way.
There's obviously a Patriot way.
Yep.
And Buffalo, I'm just going to say this. The window was open. And you waited too damn long. It's shut. The AFC East is back in the hands of the evil empire. You had an opportunity to take that take that division and own it for a minute. This is crazy because we knew that once Tom Brady left, New England was going to take their lumps. And we kind of figured that they were going to need a couple of years to reset, or at least I did. I didn't see them being where they are now this year. I kind of looked for that 2 more years, but they're 9-4. They're 9-4. Now, I will give it that last year, in addition to COVID, they had about 9 defensive players that opted out because of COVID. So we already understood that defensively they weren't going to be what they have been. But still, if anybody told me at the beginning of the season, 13 games in, New England was going to be 9-4 going into their bye.
With a rookie quarterback?
With a rookie quarterback. That was not the first, second, third, or fourth taken in the draft. That failed to Belichick. Didn't trade up, didn't reach for him, didn't do anything. Just sat there and said, oh, it's our turn? Mac Jones. I mean, that's all that happened.
Yeah.
That's how it happened. I was in the draft room. That's all he did. He just looked around. Hey, what y'all ordering tonight? Okay. Oh, we up, Mac Jones. And he just got back. He went back to what he was doing. That's just how it happens with New England. So, yeah, you're right, Anthony. You can't really worry about stats because the only stats that matter are them rings around your fingers. And that's all they end up playing for it, whether it's a division championship, whether it's a conference championship, or whether it's the actual chip. That's what they play for. I'm giving the Super Bowl to New England. If the playoffs run through them, it's over. Well, maybe. But I think there's a team in Kansas City that is trying to get right back in their step too, that might have something to say about that. But to your point, honestly, I think most people thought it was going to be Kansas City. Tennessee was looking good. The Chargers were looking good. The Raiders were Raiders NFC.
Raiders are AFC.
No, Raiders AFC. People were looking at the Raiders. Hell, it ain't that long ago. Some people actually was looking at Cleveland.
Yeah, beginning of the year, everybody was looking at Cleveland.
Or even Baltimore. It's funny. I ain't hear nobody say anything about Baltimore, But it's not funny. I know why. But that's just funny. So Rand, that was definitely, we knew it was going to be the game of the week, but we didn't know it was going to be like that. And that was just crazy. The Sunday night game actually was decent. It was the Chiefs against the Broncos. And the Chiefs just went in and handled their business. Now, Teddy Bridgewater did put up 40 passes, hit 22. Not that good. 257 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Patrick Mahomes in the game, did throw a pick, did throw a touchdown, only 15 to 29, 184 yards. He still just doesn't look comfortable dropping back right now. He still looks a little bit off with his dropbacks. Of course, it's not high powered right now, but it just doesn't look like he's getting the zip that he wants. What up, fellas? What's going on, CJ Jones? Hope you're doing good, sir. Hadn't gotten to your Cowboys yet, so just hold on. We're gonna talk about them. But we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. What did you think about that game? How it played out?
Kansas City is getting some act right back. I mean, they had a really slow start, but now they've reeled off quite a few games in a row now, and we're hitting that stretch run in December. They're doing it at the right time. Exactly. I don't know. It's like some teams, Kansas City, one of them, Tampa Bay, another one of them, they can hit the gas when it's needed. And I'm thinking right now they have realized the urgency and they've hit the gas. So we will see how far it takes them.
No doubt. I've been kind of thinking the same thing. Like the first part of the season was almost like they were just sleeping through things.
Yeah.
CJ Jones, it's date night, can't stay long. Oh, come on, really? You're going to put date night above sports? CJ, be a man. I got your back. Way back, but I got your back. You know what to do. Anyway, I agree with that. Well, Anthony says Washington. We're going to talk about Washington because, hey, let's jump into Washington. I was going to go Seahawks, but let's go Washington and the Raiders. I actually picked Washington to win this game.
I did too.
And they did not disappoint. The muffler man, Taylor Heineke, has been doing his thing. And he is – you got to start giving Heineke his props. A lot of people have still been saying, is this guy a starter in the NFL? Newsflash, he is a starter in the NFL.
Yeah, he's
is he a bona fide starter in the NFL? He's been starting in the NFL, so I would say yes. And he's been efficient. He does anything Ron Rivera asked him to do. He was only 23 of 30 for 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. I mean, I don't know how much more efficient you can be than 23 of 30. Heineke is not a game manager. I don't want to say that at all. He knows his limitations, and he focuses on his strengths. And that's a good thing. He plays within himself. I don't really ever see Taylor Heineke do a lot of things that I go, now he know good and well that he ain't supposed to be doing that. Now, sometimes I see him make some throws and I go, how the heck did he do that? But it's because he knew he could do that. But he's not playing out of himself. His strength is that he plays in himself and he utilizes the people around him, such as Gibson, such as McKissick. He uses those guys very, very well, and they rally around him. He uses his legs when he needs to, but he really tries. Heineke gets you more. He's one of the better passers on the run this year that I've seen. He's okay in the pocket, but if you force him out of that pocket thinking that you got him, like you run one of those blitzes straight up the middle and you force him to his right and you don't get him down and you don't make it home, you're just buying a receiver downfield more time because now he's rolling out and now he's got a way that if he can connect with that receiver downfield, that's where his big playability comes into play. So don't sleep on Taylor Heineke. If you're still sleeping on this man, you need to wake up because he's real. He's the real deal.
Heineke is becoming quite a young leader. He's got that locker room. The guys in the locker room have his back. You could tell that. And that leads me right into something else. As far as the team having somebody's back, that Washington team has the back of their head coach, somebody that we here in Carolina got rid of far too soon. It's really looking like that now. Yeah, it's really looking like that now because that man's system is winning ball games.
Yep. And I mean, other than you talk about Gibson and McKissick, there are no household names on that offense.
Nope.
I mean, who they got? Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown, DeAndre Carter, Wendell Smallwood, Adam Humphries, Logan Thomas.
Nope, nobody that's scaring you.
None of them names would just jump off a page and make you go and put fear in the hearts of a team. But I'm gonna tell you, Washington puts it all together, and we're really gonna see what happens because they're only 2 games behind those Dallas Cowboys.
It's really getting interesting in the NFC East. It is.
And Dallas got to play them twice.
Yep.
And Dallas got to play them this Sunday at FedEx Field.
You know what happens to Dallas in December?
Yeah, something like this. Yeah,
like this.
Yeah, so yeah, like that. Yeah, they're just like they're allergic to winning. Logan Thomas is done for the year, and Landon Collins. Now that I didn't hear about, Anthony. I appreciate that update. What happened to Logan? Did he?
Blow.
Yeah, what happened to Logan?
They said that Logan Thomas tore his ACL initially. I don't think it's an ACL tear, but it is a significant knee injury. So he's probably done for the year. Lucky it's not a tear, so it won't take 6 to 8 months to get that thing back right. But as far as this year in football, he's looking like he's done.
Man. See, that's not good. But
yeah, they've had some really big blows, man. They got him. They got their 2 edge rushers, Young and Sweat. I mean, that's some big losses for Washington. But
and that's the thing, they've been winning in spite of it.
Yeah, they're still persevering. Yep.
I mean, when you think about it, the Raiders have Renfro. They've got Waller didn't play, of course, because of his was it shoulder or knee? I think it was his knee. And then they picked up Deshaun Jackson, wasn't it? Then they picked up Deshaun Jackson. So
he's doing nothing for them.
Doing nothing. So, but you expect more than 15 points out of that offense. So Washington keeping them at 15, that's a win for the defense.
Absolutely.
So, Anthony, as much as people know how much I love the Cowboys, well, kidding. I'm actually going for Washington on Sunday, so please don't let me down. It should be a good game. Yeah, it's going to be at 1 p.m. at FedEx Field. Anthony says Sweat came back from injury this week, but tested positive, so he's going to miss 2 games.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, the way they've been playing, they should be able to hold it down until he gets back. Washington is looking really, really good right now, my man. I can't say enough about them. The rest of their schedule is going to be a little hard. I mean, well, not that hard. Actually, not hard at all. Dallas better really not mess up. They need to get these 2 games on Washington. Even if they split these games and it comes down to a tie, then it's going to be divisional wins and things like that. That's going to determine who wins the NFC East. They need them both. I mean, in Dallas. If Washington wins one or both of these games, it's over. Because outside of that, Washington then plays the Eagles after the Cowboys, which is a winnable game for them. They play the Cowboys right after that, so they got the Eagles sandwiched in between. Then after that, again, it's funny. They go Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles.
Wow.
And then they finish up against the Giants.
That's an unusual schedule.
It is. And I mean, out of those next 5 games, I mean, could they go 4-1, 3-2? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at what the Dolphins are doing. I mean, how can you rule anybody out?
Exactly. And I mean, think about it. If they go worst case scenario, if they go 3-2, I mean, that puts them at what, 9-8 in the division, and the Cowboys right now are what? Now
8-4, I believe.
8-4,
I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna get close.
Yeah,
it's gonna get real close. Look, them Cowboys lose about 3 games. Cowboy fans are gonna be sweating up a storm over here. So yeah, that's a good game to watch out too. The next game, the Seahawks and the 49ers. Again, this is one of these weeks where the Seahawks look crazy bad one week. They go against the 49ers, albeit without Deebo Samuel. And all of a sudden, Seattle puts up 30 points. Ain't been putting up no points like that lately. As a matter of fact, the last couple of games, Seahawks against Washington put up 15. Seahawks against the Cardinals put up 13. Against the Packers, they didn't put up anything. It wasn't until the week before that against Jacksonville that they beat them 31-7. But then even before that, they put up 10. Before that, they put up 20. Before that, they put up 17. So they haven't been scoring points like that. Now, all of a sudden, out of the blue, Seattle decides they want to put up 30 points. So, I mean, it just goes back and forth, but they did beat the 49ers 30-23. Russell Wilson kind of looked like Russell old. He put up 37 passes on that messed up finger. He hit 30 or 37, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. One thing that they kept talking about, Ram, was that they needed to get the ball to DK Metcalf more. Well, they got 5 receptions for 60 yards, but Tyler Lockett still had the most targets and receptions, 7 for 68.
Yeah, Lockett's always going to be their dude, man. He's the one that can create some real separation between him and the defender. That's not necessarily Metcalf's game right there.
You know, Metcalf's game to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, is just he's fast.
Yeah, he's straight speed, fast, and power.
But, you know, technique and good route running and all those other things, being able to run all your route trees have to come into place, or you're just a poor man's Ted Ginn Jr.
Pretty much.
I mean, Ted Ginn can blow the top off of anything, but that didn't always equate to anything. Otherwise, he'd lead the league in receiving yards every year.
Exactly.
So you know, and that's one of those teases on your fantasy teams, because you put the guy on there thinking that, hey, he gets that one big play. Okay, he gets one big play for 65 yards, and then you don't hear from him the rest of the game. You got what, 8 points on your fantasy? So
yeah, we call that
matter.
We call that the Deshaun Jackson fantasy.
Yeah, I call that the Brandon Cooks factor too, because he's kind of the same way. You get those guys that, they're good for one big play, and then the rest of the game is like they're on the side of a milk carton. You don't hear from them. Yep. Anthony says DK is faster than Randy Moss. Okay, I got no problem with that.
You know, the NFL has had plenty of sprinters. They have. They've got guys that have been Olympic sprinters.
But I'll take Randy Moss any day of the week, because Moss beat Moss people.
Any day. It's about the entire
look.
It's about
when
the entire
you throw a fade, when you throw a fade route into the end zone and it's a 50-50 ball, and it's Randy Moss going up against whatever defensive back, I'm going with Randy.
all day long and twice on Sunday, man. Yep.
Oh my God. And he's gonna get balls. And if he goes down the line with somebody and they both got to go up for that ball, I know who's coming down with it more times than not. So
he'll be in the end zone.
The fastest person ain't the best person. Otherwise, what's my man on the Panthers? Dante Jackson would be really tearing the league up. He's fast, but I mean, that don't always equate to anything. It helps.
No, it
don't get me wrong.
No, it doesn't. And I've always heard this too. You got the combine speed of guys that can run and get timed at a very quick time. But then you also have on the field speed when you're in pads and you got defenders in front of you. And that's a big difference.
That's why you see guys like Adam Thielen, Cooper Kupp, Cole Beasley,
exactly,
excelling like that. They didn't have the biggest 40, the combines, but they know how to get open and use that deceptive speed. And it's also because of the technique that you use. Me just telling you to run a straight line doesn't tell me that you know how to make a 7-yard in cut and then run a skinny post. It has nothing to do with that. But if you don't know how to run that and do it on timing with your quarterback, that does not necessarily translate into, are you going to be able to catch that ball across the middle? Yeah. And it also doesn't tell me if your hands are any good.
Exactly, your hands. You got to have them.
You got to have hands. So, you know, that's a big thing too. Okay. There was a game Sunday that I know we need to talk about, and that was the Steelers and the Ravens.
Oh, Lord. Somebody almost had to call a medic for me. That was too much. That was too much.
Oh Lord. I just knew it was going to come down to either who had the ball last or who made the most mistakes and everything else. This was an interesting game, no doubt. I actually have picked the Steelers to win this game because my faith in the Ravens is diminishing. Even though they're still 8-4, their last couple of wins have left a lot to be desired. And a lot of those wins have to come from, you can't keep winning games with last second heroics from
exactly
Lamar Jackson. That cannot be your formula to win. And that's kind of been the knock on the Ravens is they do all of this stuff during the regular season. And then when the playoffs come, you can't play like that in the playoffs.
No.
It's win or go home. You can't play like that. Anthony says TJ Watt earns his money. Lamar's accuracy is bad. Both of those things have been true all year.
we talked about this a few weeks ago, well, several weeks ago now, when Watt was up for contract negotiations and the Steelers hadn't signed him yet, and were looking to going into the season without him. And some folks were saying, "Why pay him all this money?" Look, you're seeing why Pittsburgh paid him all the money. You're seeing it right now. 13.5 sacks, 3 against the Ravens the night before. Come on, man. You have to pay a man like that. If you don't pay him, somebody else is waiting.
He had 3.5 in that game.
In the game alone. So, yeah, hell yeah. You have to pay that man. You have to.
Oh, Lord have mercy. They lit up Lamar that day because I believe the total sacks was 6 or 7. It was something like that. Like they hit him 7 times. And they Minka intercepted them. So, the defense was just amazing. Being, 21 to 31, 236, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah, very efficient ball game.
No picks. See, the thing about Ben, and this is the thing sometimes that you have to realize when it's over for a player, it's not that they can't have a game like that. It's that they can't consistently have games like that.
Consistently, yeah.
He can't string 3-4 games along like that. You're going to see glimpses. You're going to see reminders to go, oh, man, if that's the Ben that we're getting, man, he got at least another year in him. He doesn't.
No, he does not.
He doesn't.
No.
Because you want to remember him in a better light. If he plays a year too many, then you start to see more of the bad than the good.
Yeah.
And you don't
I'm quite shocked that he's doing good this year. I did not expect him to be doing even this good this year, but
so the word went around that he had privately told people that this was probably going to be his last year, and my only response to that, just the way we've been playing all year long, that was kind of the announcement for me. But maybe I'm just being funny.
No, for real. To my response to that was duh.
Right, like, and this is breaking news. I'm going back to my whole water is wet thing. When I read that, I'm like, yeah, okay,
yeah.
I guess if you want to make it formal, but he didn't announce it or anything. And normally, if he really believed that, a lot of times players would normally say, hey, this is going to be my last year. Because then as they go to different stadiums and stuff like that, people kind of give you flowers and acknowledge you. And except for the AFC North, it doesn't matter if you go to Cincinnati or Cleveland, they're still going to boo the hell out of you. If this your last year, go out with a bang. But that's what I'm saying, Anthony, is that, he could have done the whole, Kobe tour, some of the other players where it was their, last time you were going to see him. A lot of times what that would mean is that, hey, I'm here in Charlotte, but if the Steelers come to Charlotte to play the Steelers, I wasn't thinking about going to that game, but this is the last game I'm going to see Ben here. And it can drive their ticket sales or, drive more fandom to come and stuff like that. So, I think they kind of missed out on that a little bit, but sometimes you just don't know. You got to play into the season, and then you start to realize that, hey, them Sunday games, and better yet, when you kind of have to come back in on Tuesday and Wednesday and do your walkthroughs, you still sore. Thursday, you still sore. You take a veteran day on Thursday. Friday, after I think it's week 13, they can't even put pads on anymore. They just do walkthroughs. In the practices, they don't even let them do pads. So, but even in those walkthroughs, you're still like, limping around and getting more treatments and stuff like that, just so that they can patch it together enough to play on Sunday and whatnot. So that takes a toll on you. Mini camps, OTAs, training camps. You're 38, 39, 40 years old. That takes a toll on you. That's why I continue to say, you can say whatever you want about that man down in Tampa. He built different.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. It amazes me when people argue against Tom Brady being the GOAT. It just amazes me. It does. I mean, I hate him too. I mean, I'm with you. I hate him too, but I have to acknowledge greatness.
So let me talk about this Tampa Bay Atlanta game, because yes, it was 30-17, but let me tell you something else. Tom Brady threw 51 passes.
51 passes at 51 years old.
He threw 51 passes and he hit 38 of them.
Insane.
He threw 368 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Now, who is leading the league in passing yards this year?
It's probably him. I know he's got to be leading in touchdown passes. I mean, it's ridiculous, man.
He has 3,771 yards. Derek Carr is the next closest, and he's 108 yards away at 36.63.
Is he leading the league in touchdown passes? That's what
I believe so, because he's thrown 34 touchdowns to 10 picks. And as I'm scrolling down, nobody else has hit 30 except Stafford. Stafford has 30 and 9 picks. Brady has 34 and 10.
The man is bionic. The man is bionic. He's a cyborg.
And the next person is like Herbert, I think, at 27. Then you got a couple. Then you got Josh Allen at 26. Cousins, Mahomes, and you'd be surprised. Mahomes and Cousins are right there at 25. So, there you go, Mahomes and everything. I mean, that's just he's bionic, man. You got cats like Jimmy Garoppolo that's only thrown 15. Jared Goff has thrown 13. He's on another level, man. He's just on another freaking level. But 3,700 yards, the closest man to him is 108 away. It's Brady, Carr, Stafford, Herbert, Mahomes, Cousins, Allen, Prescott, Burrow, and Wentz in your top.
I mean, people make the joke of Tom Brady playing till he's 50, but I mean, is it that funny anymore? I mean,
no, not really. Not at all.
I mean, it might happen.
Not at all. I did also, while I was looking at the stats, wanted to congratulate Joe Mixon for finally passing Derrick Henry for number 2 in rushing. Derrick Henry stayed in like 6 weeks. 5 weeks.
Dang.
So he finally passed him. So currently Derrick Henry is number 3 in rushing. And Nick Chubb would still need about 70 yards to move into that position.
God, man, Tennessee suffered a huge blow when they lost him.
That tells you how big losing King Henry was. This man ain't ran in, like, seriously, not even the whole month of November. And he's still number 3 in rushing. And number 3 in rushing touchdowns. He had 10 rushing touchdowns. Joe Mixon has 12, and Jonathan Taylor has 16. But you got to remember, he got 4 of those in one game. So,
yeah.
He got 4 rushing touchdowns, and then he had a receiving one as well. He had 5 in one game.
Major loss when they lost that guy.
Yeah. Anthony says, question, would you want to see Tom Brady in the Super Bowl? Meaning, do you get tired of seeing the same team every year? Well, no, because he changed teams. Now, do I get tired of seeing the same guy? Not really, if it's good football. It's kind of the same thing as the Jordan question.
Michael Jordan, yep.
How many teams or how many players did Jordan deny ever getting a championship because he was in the way, like a Patrick Ewing? Charles Barkley didn't get one, I don't believe.
Yep. No,
there were a lot of guys that, because Jordan came when he came, as great as those players were in their own right, a lot of times your greatness is measured by rings. And
John
Jordan
Stockton,
sucked all the
Karl
oxygen
Malone.
out.
Yep. Gary
Um,
Payton all got denied because of Jordan. All of them
yeah,
guys.
Malone, Stockton, absolutely. Or LeBron. He says, or LeBron. Yeah, I get tired of seeing LeBron for other reasons, but
Yeah, I ain't even gonna comment on LeBron, but and don't get mad at me, y'all. I give LeBron his props, but
right,
he's not
right,
Jordan. Please stop that. Please stop
right,
that.
right. It's only one. He played, he retired, and he still sells a hell of a lot of shoes. So that's it. That's it. And I got quite a few pair. But no, I don't really get tired of it. Now, if I'm gonna be honest, if he had stayed in New England and they kept doing it, yeah, I probably would have gotten tired of it, honestly.
Yeah.
But the fact that he went to another team and said it's more than just Bill's system as to why I was that successful, come all the way down to Tampa Bay, where there hadn't been any meaningful success. I mean, they weren't always a bunch of scrubs, but I mean, let's be honest, they were in the NFC South. They didn't win the South that much. He comes down there and steals the Brady way, so to speak, with Bruce Arians. And got to also give a good job to Byron Leftwich for utilizing Tom's talents and calling those offensive plays. I really believe him and Leftwich work really, really well together, coming up with plays and game plans, because I believe that Leftwich takes a lot of Tom's feedback and he puts it into the game plan.
Yep.
And that just kind of shows you the maturation of a player being able to say, because a lot of people will say, well, that quarterback in that system, and they always accuse people of being a system quarterback. And I've never understood that, because whatever system you play in, you're that system's quarterback.
Yep.
The worst thing you could be is if you're not really able to play in that system and they keep trying to force you to play a certain system.
Yeah, just thinking of your first point about Tom Brady denying some great quarterbacks, I could speak as a Steelers fan from the perspective of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Ben has 2 rings. The reason why he doesn't have 4 and 5 rings is solely because of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
The Steelers in 2001, 13-3, juggernaut of a team. Nobody could stop them except Tom Brady. Back in 2004, 15-1.
Yeah.
Went up against the Patriots in the AFC Championship, got destroyed. Somewhere in between there was a 14-2 team that the Steelers had that did not make the Super Bowl. Yeah, man. Tom Brady has the same effect as Jordan had with denying some greatness, for real.
Yeah. Now imagine Jordan going from the Eastern Conference to the Western Conference and then dominating the West like he did the East.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing.
That's what Brady did. He went from the AFC to the NFC.
That's what we're seeing. Yep. And I think he did that on purpose just to prove a point.
Yes.
Because people call him system quarterback. Okay, so I'll jump into a completely different system and I'll make it mine and I'll still ride home with a ring. And that's exactly what he did in year one. Year one. Didn't take him 5 years to do it. Year one. So, yeah, all this Brady is not the GOAT talk. I mean, I really don't understand it unless it's just
I don't either. It's pure hate, because listen, nobody could ever confuse me for being a Patriots fan, but I'm a fan of the game more than anything. And I have to not lie to myself. I got to look at what my eyes see and get that man his props, that what he's doing at this level, at that age, when you see other people around him break down, Andrew Luck, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, when you see all these other guys, Eli Manning, you see them having to retire, and rightfully so. You know, Father Time is undefeated except for Tom Brady, and that he's still able to do these things. What I said about Ben Roethlisberger, when you see those glimpses of Ben and you go, the problem is he can't string along 3, 4, 5 games like that together. This dude is stringing along 3, 4, 5 games like that. Now, when I sat there and I listed the top quarterbacks in passing and I named all of those, I didn't get to Ben. Why? Because Ben is
about 16, 17.
I don't even see him.
Yeah, 16,
he's far down. He's like on page 2. He's far down. And I'm not even getting. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I had it on passing. I mean, rushing. Roethlisberger is, he's right ahead of Garoppolo in passing. And he's between Garoppolo and Ryan Tannehill. But you know who's above Roethlisberger? Bridgewater, Heineke, Lamar Jackson, Mac Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan.
Father Time, as bad of a season as Matt Ryan is having.
Trevor Lawrence is only 3 behind him.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts. So
Father Time catches everybody, man, except for Tom.
Trevor Lawrence has thrown more yards than Jalen Hurts. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, Kyler Murray is actually last, to be honest, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so yeah, you got to give you got to give Tom Brady his props on that. The Rams had a get right game too, Rand. They came back and beat the Jaguars 37-7. But Stafford still just doesn't look like the guy we were talking about at the beginning of the year. Now, he was 26 of 38, 295, 3 touchdowns, no picks this time. So for the first time in 3 games, he didn't throw a pick 6. Sonny Michel was really the story of this game. 24 carries, 121 yards, 5 yards an attempt.
It is about time they gave Sonny Michel the dang on ball.
Exactly. Now, his number 1 receiver, Cooper Kupp, had a nice little bounce back. 8 receptions, 129 yards, 16.1 for somebody that did not have the fastest 40 time. Odell Beckham Jr., 2 receptions, 28 yards, and he actually scored again. So congratulations to OBJ on finding the end zone. And then Van Jefferson also had a touchdown as well. So Stafford looked a lot better, but he's still – but, let's be honest. It was against the Jags.
Right.
It was against the Jags. So time will tell whether the Rams are really for real or if they're kind of like my comparison to the Ravens, that they are a team for the regular season, but not so much for the playoffs. They're really going to have to prove that the decisions they made with bringing in Von Miller and some of the other things that they did was a real true win now situation for them. The Cardinals came back with DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray, took care of business against the Chicago Bears. Of course, Murray, again, 11 for 15, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. But then he also ran for 59 yards as well. But again, the biggest story is James Conner still plugging away. He didn't have any touchdowns rushing this time, but he did have a receiving touchdown. 2 receptions, 36 yards, but on the ground, 20 carries for 75 yards. So he's still doing a lot of damage for that team.
Good. Yeah, he stabilized the run game big time for them. I hated to lose James Conner in Pittsburgh, but I understood the decision to let him go. He is a very good back, but he's not as explosive as what Pittsburgh needed. So,
but would you have kept Benny Snell instead of Conner, and then just had him and Najee be more of change of back for Najee?
Do what now? Would I have kept
instead
Benny
of getting rid of Benny instead of getting rid of Conner? Maybe it was a salary thing too. But
it was salary, yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, man, I would have got rid of Benny Snell, brought in Najee Harris, and then let them be a dynamic duo, kind of like Pollard, Elliott, only better.
Yeah, it was strictly salary. He was a free agent. Snell was not, so came down to that.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Then it's just a business decision. But yeah, Connor's kind of proven that he's still got something left in the tank for sure. In that game. Others, the Eagles beat the Jets 33-18. Yeah, okay. But I think the biggest shock was the Detroit Lions won their first game of the year.
I will say something about that Eagle game right before we go to the Lions.
Go for it.
Gardner Minshew, baby.
Uncle Rico.
We might have a quarterback situation in Philadelphia. We'll see. We'll see how that pans out.
Hey, he was precise. Well, see, okay. I'm gonna jump on that too. Gardner Minshew, 20 of 25, 242, 2 touchdowns. Gardner Minshew, 4 rushing attempts for 11 yards. The thing with Jalen Hurts is Jalen runs for as many yards as he throws normally, which is why it doesn't look like he passes for a lot of yards, because he doesn't. He does a lot of it with his legs. Garner stays in the pocket more. He does roll and do other things, but he does more what a traditional quarterback does. So his line, 20-25, 242, 2 touchdowns, no picks, sounds more like a regular line of a quarterback. Not a great game, but an efficient game. I mean, you're 20 or 25. That's pretty darn efficient. Whether you're playing the New York Jets or anybody, that's pretty doggone efficient. That's what you look for in a quarterback. Not a running back. Taysom Hill. So I got one in on him. But that's going to be the controversy is, what do we want our quarterbacking to look like? Because he's not Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. And to your point, he does run a lot of yards, but I mean, you got to do it efficiently. Like right now, Hurts is hitting about 60% of his passes, like right at 60, and that's not very good, man. But Steve, he's gonna have to get that up a little.
Every time he runs, though, Miles Sanders ain't running. Gainwell ain't running. Now with Garner staying in his place, see, I'm one that believes you got to stay in your lane. If you stay in your lane, everything work out better. And what I mean by that is to me, it ain't a coincidence that they ran Miles Sanders 24 times, which at the beginning of the year, I could not understand why this man was getting 5 carries in the game.
It was unbelievable.
He had 24 carries for 120 yards, 5.0 yards a carry.
He's just been sitting there collecting dust, man. I mean, the same as
I just said because you ain't been playing it.
Yeah, the same as I just said about Sony Michel. About time they gave that man the ball. It's about time they gave Sanders the ball. He's averaging close to 5 yards a freaking carry.
He's a beast.
I mean, we ain't coaches, but I mean, if we can see it sitting on our living room couch, why come these coaches can't tell?
And I know you see this dude in practice.
God, man, I don't understand it. I really don't. Some of the coaching decisions I just don't get.
Bruh, I'm there with you because I'm sure that the 6 different receivers that Minshew passed to appreciated him being out there. So yeah, that's gonna probably do some stuff in the locker room for sure, where they're gonna kind of be like, you go ahead and start, right? or do that whole thing where they say, Jalen, take your time.
Yeah, right. For real, man.
And one of the conversations. And honestly, if you're 6-7, the likelihood that you're going to the playoffs is pretty much over. You're not mathematically eliminated yet, but for all intents and purposes, you lost 7 games. The likelihood of you just winning out, because you'd have to win. I mean, you'd be 9. I mean, you could be 10-7 if you won out. You're not going to be 10-7. Don't you want to at least see what happens if you just leave Minshew in? Can he duplicate this game and the rest of their schedule? When you look at it, they play Washington. No, hold on, that's
twice.
Not right. They have a bye. That's what I'm looking at. They have a bye this week. So their next game is against Washington. So they end the season Washington, New York. See, everybody doing the sandwich thing. Washington, New York, Washington, and then they play. And then they end the season against the Cowboys.
So look at point taken. Right now they're 6-7. They could make up a whole lot of ground in that NFC East. If I was,
they can make it interesting. They could make it interesting.
They could. If I was them, man, I would leave Minshew alone, see what he could do.
Yeah, why not? You already know what you have in Jalen Hurts. And if you really, really want to just bring him out for a couple of design run plays, because you feel like if he does an RPO and they don't know whether Sanders has it or Jalen still has it, run it. I don't know if he would be appreciative of you putting him in a role like that. But at least you're saying, hey, we're letting you get on the field. We really want to see what Garner is going to do under center. But if you really want to be in the game, we can design about, 8 to 10 plays, design runs, and see how it goes and stuff like that. maybe on some 4th and 1s where we want to go for it. We put you in there because we think you can get the yards. Okay.
Yeah.
I ain't got a problem with that. But for the
I
most
know
part,
that
I'd rather just ride it out with Minshew. Let Uncle Rico do what he does.
And I know it was the Jets, but that offense just looked like it was like not just the offense. I mean, just the guys rallying behind him. That's the thing I noticed too.
Well,
So
I mean, when you're used to getting the ball to you accurately, that's going to happen.
Right.
You know, them receivers play with pride, and as much as you want to sell them on, hey, we need you to block and do this and that and the other. Hey, they ain't no 55-mile-an-hour wind. We need you to put the ball up in the air. You know, that's what we came to this team for. We want this explosive offense. They put up 33 points. Yes, again, it was against the Jets, but sometimes you need those kind of games to really get that confidence going and stuff like that. So, again, that was really, really good. Anthony says, "What's the news on Cam? Is he starting again or not?" Oh, absolutely, he's starting again.
Yeah, he's starting.
Yeah. He's gonna be out there. Yeah, we're gonna get in that in just a second. But yeah, like I was saying, the Lions actually won. They beat the Vikings 29-27. I was gonna be disappointed had they lost because they were winning most of the game and the Lions came back on them. Us Washington fans, we want Hurts to start as quarterback. LOL. I don't think they're gonna hurt you though. I don't know. I would go with Heineke over Minshew any day of the week. That's just me. I mean, from the organization as far as the Eagles, you really need to see what you have. You know, Hurts has shown you all season what he is. You're not going to learn anything more from Jalen Hurts leaving him out there to play. But you might learn what you have in alternatives and what you have in your receivers, what you have in Miles Sanders, what you have in Gainwell, what you have in your offensive line. Do they block different when there's a different quarterback under center? Do you get more penalties? You know, the other thing when you don't know if your quarterback's going to run, what do you see more penalties of? Legal man downfield because they don't know if he's going to pass it or run it. Then they end up past the line of scrimmage and you get these stupid penalties because he's holding the ball back there so long that they have to do something. And then if he decides to then take off and throw, now you got a illegal man downfield.
So my man saying he would rather see Hurts as a Washington fan than see Gardner Minshew.
Same thing with the Bears. Finish the season with Justin.
Why not? I mean, they ain't going nowhere.
I mean, the coach is done anyway. I mean, you might as well finish. I mean, you might as well call me. I'll finish it. No, I won't. Not with that offensive line. No, I won't. I'm good. But yeah, anyway, the Detroit Lions won. So now they're 1-10-1. But it was actually pretty funny because they won the game on the arm of Jared Goff, who threw a last-second game-winning walk-off touchdown pass.
About time.
Yeah, I know, right? And I'm sure that took a lot of pressure off Jared. He threw 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 25 of 41 with 296 yards. So that was a feel-good game for them. Meant more to the Vikings to lose that game than to the Lions to win it. I actually thought the Lions would win that game because I don't trust Minnesota like that. Kirk Cousins does a lot of heroics, but he does a lot of passing in between the 20s. When it gets down into the red zone, his red zone efficiency isn't as much as you would like it to be. Anthony says, NFL says the Lions still have a playoff chance. If they make the playoffs, I'm becoming a Lions fan. Yeah, well, but there were so many different scenarios that had to play out for that to happen. I saw the same thing, but when I looked at those scenarios, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, who spends time figuring that out for no reason? It's not going to happen. It's like it would take a total collapse of the whole. If it happened, the truth is there is collusion in the league. If it happens,
yeah,
because a whole lot of people would have to get together to make that happen. The only way that happened, people are getting paid.
A couple of million years ago, a comet hit the earth and destroyed all the dinosaurs. It hadn't happened since. So
right. Not that it couldn't happen again, but I don't sleep at night thinking, is tonight the night? Oh Lord. The Cowboys actually won a football game last Thursday against the New Orleans Saints. And actually, the quarterback that won the game for him wasn't Dak Prescott. It was Taysom Hill. I would contend that Taysom Hill was the best quarterback for the Cowboys that day.
Oh, dang. That's cold, Pete. That's cold.
I'm sorry. He threw 4 picks. Oh God, my stomach hurts. He threw 4 picks. Now he threw some decent throws at times, but some of his decision making was just terrible. He really made the Cowboys defense look way better than it really is. He really did. Tony Pollard is still showing that he is the most explosive back. 7 carries, 71 yards, 10 yards a carry. Zeke dang near doubled him at 13 carries and only had 45 yards, 3.5 yards a carry. So whatever Zeke is dealing with, it ain't over. Pollard is definitely making a case to become their lead back, at least until Zeke can prove that he's healthy enough to carry the load. And I think it's just more of those a technical thing where they're starting Zeke to say that he's starting, but at the end of the day, Pollard's getting the more meaningful touches. And that's kind of what's happening. But Dallas has a really good challenge this week, again, when they go and face the Washington football team. So we'll see how that goes. I know we're running short on time. Any games this week coming up? He says, I'm in pain. LOL. Sean should have benched him with that broken finger. They deserve to lose. Bro, and bringing Trevor Siemian, I mean, man. I mean, I understand you started Jameis Winston, but really, when you look at Taysom, that was really a competition through training camp?
Yeah.
Jeez. God. And Siemian couldn't crack the top 2? Man. And y'all they could have been called Cam. Anyway, or Kaepernick. Anyway, what games do you have on your radar for this coming week?
Just for personal reasons, of course, my boys in Minnesota tomorrow night. That's huge for us.
Yeah.
Also on Sunday, you got the Panthers going up against the Falcons. That game is big for several reasons. Number one, I don't believe Carolina is out of it. They're not out of it, but they got to start playing some good ball. And then for reason number 2, if they get blown out by the Falcons on their home field, look, Matt Rule, you could fire and blame whatever you want on Joe Brady, but that ain't gonna save your job until next weweek if that happens.
Rand, here's my problem with the whole Joe Brady thing. Matt Rule hired Joe Brady because Joe Brady was down there at Louisiana, I believe it was, with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And here's the thing that just keeps escaping me. Joe Burrow was a quarterback. Jamar Chase was a receiver. Joe Brady was known for his explosive offense throwing the ball. Your complaint with Joe Brady was you ain't been running the ball enough. Well, what did he do at Louisiana that made you think he was interested in running the ball?
Exactly.
He was always throwing the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Why did you get him?
It's like you're gonna get a dog and then be mad because the dog barks. That's what the dog was doing. I mean, that's what
he was doing when you got him.
Yes. So this whole thing with Joe Brady taking the fall, and we touched about this a few weeks ago, maybe even last week. I said that somebody was going to take the fall.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and I was like, do you think that they would actually do that? And he didn't do it at the beginning of the week. He kind of waited into the second week and finally went ahead and make a move. And I know he's probably doing that more so to show Dave Tepper, hey, I'm trying to do something so you don't fire me.
Yeah, he's trying to save his own ass.
Tepper, whether they make the playoffs or not, every game is going to be an evaluation of you just as much as an evaluation of the team itself.
From here on out.
And you only get to use that card one time. Joe Judge, same thing, trying to get rid of Jason Garrett, as if Jason Garrett did anything with the Cowboys to make you think that he was some prolific offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, normally when I hire somebody, I check their resume. It was like when the Cowboys sat there last year and had Mike Nolan as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, you check the resume and you also match it up to see, is this a fit for my system and what I want
for what he was running? If he comes with that same mindset, how is that going to fare for me? So I got Chuba Hubbard, Christian McCaffrey, Amir Abdullah, some stout running backs. Well, Brady didn't come from LSU doing that.
Yeah. So now you want to fire him because it's not happening? Come on, bro.
Exactly.
Come on,
like stop it. Stop it.
Stop.
Like, okay, we see you, we hear you, but you ain't fooling nobody.
You not pulling the wool over my eyes.
If they lose on Sunday, you ain't gonna have nobody else.
Exactly. Whose fault is it then?
Yeah.
Is it Phil Snow?
Okay. Like, is there another coach gonna get fired this week, Matt? Other than you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. Some other games going on, not really big ones, but you got the Raiders and the Chiefs. That could be a big game, actually. You got the Ravens and the Browns. That's, of course, AFC North implications there. Of course, we already talked about Cowboys, Washington football team. Giants and the Chargers, probably a sleeper. But we'll see. Big Blue's been playing pretty good lately. Lions against the Broncos. Could they go for number 2? I'd love to see that. 49ers and the Bengals. Deebo Samuel might be back from his groin injury. That'll be interesting to see how they play against the Bengals. Bengals, it should be a run against run, low scoring game. Joe Mixon against Elijah Mitchell. That should be interesting to see. The Bills have to go to Tampa Bay. That's going to be a big 4:00 game right there.
Yeah, man.
Is Josh Allen going to be able to bounce back and he's going to have to do it at Brady? That's a lot to ask for. Is Leonard Fournette going to sit there and run through them Bills like Harris and Stevenson did? and did the Patriots show the rest of the league how you run through the Bills? Well, Indianapolis did it a couple weeks before that too, when Jonathan Taylor had 185 yards on him. So yeah, I mean, Bills, the window. Y'all had a chance,
across the league, you just got, I mean, all the games you just named, you got a lot of teams just put up or shut up time. Washington, Dallas, Washington, this is your move right here. You got to take this.
This might be the week where we start seeing a little bit of separation.
Yeah, you got Cleveland and Baltimore. Cleveland, this is do or die for y'all. Baltimore, you're going to get back on the winning track. Further down the line, you got the game you just called, San Francisco and Cincinnati, both coming off of losses. Both of them need this victory. Tampa and the Buffalo, both of them need to get back. So, and even the Monday night game is going to be good with LA and Arizona. So, it's going to be a really interesting year.
At Arizona.
That's going to be a good week.
That should be a high scoring game.
Yeah.
If it's not, I'm going to be disappointed. I don't see any defense in that game at all.
No.
Unless Aaron Donald can really, or Von Miller can really get home to Kyler Murray and make him roll out of that pocket. But honestly, if you make Kyler Murray roll out of that pocket, he's going to destroy you. As good as Aaron Donald is and as good as Von Miller has been before, if you make him roll out and Jalen Ramsey is way down the field, he is going to make you look like a video game stupid. I just got that feeling, especially with DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, some of those guys out there, Rondell Moore, all those, he's going to make it look bad. So that'll be a good game to see. The Sunday night game, they need to flex that out ASAP. It is the Bears against the Packers.
Come on.
I'm going to say right now, Aaron Rodgers is either going to throw 5 touchdowns or he's going to throw 4 in the first 3 quarters and they're going to send him out in the 4th quarter.
That's another one of them games on my prime time. That's another one of them games on my prime time.
Devontae Adams is going to have 180 yards in the air. MVS is going to have 80. Lazard is going to have 60 something. Jimmy Graham on the Bear. I'm thinking about the tight end. I can't think of his name right now, but he's going to ball out. This is not going to be fair. It's like bringing a slingshot to a gunfight. I don't understand what they're doing. COVID toe or no COVID toe.
They're going to games in prime time where every single person that's going to be picking games is going to pick one way.
Oh, that's gonna be on the cooler. That's the game of the week.
Yeah.
Anybody picks the Bears and the Bears win, they should win the whole mountaintop. I'm just saying. That's my opinion. just call it the season right there, Rand. They won the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't care if that's the only game that they got right. They won the whole season.
Them bonus points for real.
Yeah. Well, y'all, that is our time. Enjoyed it as always. Have fun with your picks. Have fun with your fantasy teams if you're still alive and in it. I am in one league, but not Facebook Kings at all. That one's pretty much done for me, but it's been real. But I do have another one where I am tied for number one, so I don't feel totally bad. But whatever it is, if you're betting, bet wisely, and look forward to seeing all these games and seeing you guys again next week. Thanks a lot, Rand. We will see y'all again next week. Take it easy.